What's up, everybody? It's Pablo, and today we're diving into a topic that nobody wants to think about, but everybody needs to be aware of: fraud. Specifically, fraud in small businesses. It's more common than you think, and it can absolutely destroy your business if you're not careful. That's why today I'm breaking down the top 10 signs of fraud that you need to watch out for in your business. So buckle up, hit that like button, and let's get into it. First up, we're talking about unusual billing practices. This is a huge one, guys. Think about it. You know your business better than anyone. You know how much you're spending, you know who you're paying, and you know when those invoices are due. So if you start seeing weird stuff on your statements, like random invoices from vendors you don't recognize, duplicate payments, or invoices with inflated amounts, that's a major red flag. Don't just brush it off as a mistake. Dig deeper, ask questions, and find out what's really going on. Remember, catching fraud early is key. The longer it goes on, the more money you stand to lose. So stay vigilant, stay informed, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. Next up, let's talk about cash. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with cash transactions, but a sudden increase in cash payments, or large cash transactions in general, can be a sign of something fishy going on. Think about it. Cash is untraceable. If someone's trying to pull a fast one, they're not going to leave a paper trail. They're going to deal in cold, hard cash. So if you notice a lot more cash flowing through your business than usual, especially if it's not adding up in your books, it's time to investigate. Alright, moving on to inventory discrepancies. This one's especially important for businesses that deal with physical products. You need to have a tight grip on your inventory at all times. If you're constantly finding discrepancies between your records and what's actually on hand, that's a big problem. It could be a sign of simple mismanagement, sure, but it could also mean that someone's skimming inventory off the top and pocketing the profits. Make sure you have a robust inventory management system in place and that you're regularly reconciling your inventory to catch any discrepancies early on. Chapter 4. Red flag. Number 4. From Honda Civic to Lamborghini overnight. Now, let's talk about your employees. Specifically, let's talk about sudden, unexplained lifestyle changes. Listen, I'm all for people leveling up their lives. But when an employee who's been living paycheck to paycheck suddenly shows up with a brand new car, a luxury watch, or starts taking lavish vacations, it's natural to wonder where the money's coming from. Of course, it's possible they won the lottery or something, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. Keep an eye out for any red flags in your employees' behavior, and if something seems off, don't be afraid to ask some questions. Chapter 5. Red flag. Number 5. When vendors start complaining. Next up, vendor complaints. This is a big one that often gets overlooked. If you're consistently getting complaints from your vendors about late payments, missing payments, or other issues, that's a red flag that something's not right. It could be a sign of internal fraud, where someone is intentionally delaying or diverting payments, or it could be a sign that your business is in financial trouble, which can make you more vulnerable to fraud in the first place. Either way, it's important to take vendor complaints seriously and investigate them thoroughly. Chapter 6. Red flag number 6. Missing documents? Houston, we have a problem. Let's talk about documentation, people. Proper documentation is crucial for any business, but it's especially important when it comes to preventing and detecting fraud. If you're missing invoices, receipts, contracts, or other important documents, it makes it much harder to track down discrepancies and hold people accountable. Make sure you have a system in place for storing and managing all of your important documents, and that everyone in your business understands the importance of keeping accurate records. Alright, now let's talk about unexplained financial losses. This one's pretty straightforward. If you're consistently losing money, and you can't figure out why, that's a major red flag. It could be a sign of theft, embezzlement, or simply poor financial management. Whatever the cause, it's important to get to the bottom of it as quickly as possible. Next up, altered records. This is a classic sign of fraud, and it can be tough to catch if you're not careful. If you notice any inconsistencies in your financial records, such as changes to dates, amounts, or payee information, that's a major red flag. It could be a sign that someone is trying to cover their tracks and make it look like everything is on the up and up. Now, let's talk about unauthorized transactions. This one's pretty self-explanatory. If you see transactions on your bank statements, credit card statements, or other financial accounts that you don't recognize, that's a sign that someone might be using your business funds without your permission. Make sure you're regularly reviewing all of your financial statements and looking for any suspicious activity. Last but not least, let's talk about unusual employee behavior. This one can be a bit more subtle than some of the other signs we've discussed, but it's just as important to be aware of. If an employee who's normally very outgoing and sociable suddenly becomes withdrawn and secretive, or if they start acting nervous or agitated when you ask them questions about their work, that could be a sign that something's up. So, there you have it, guys. Those are the top 10 signs of fraud that you need to watch out for in your small business. Remember, fraud can happen to anyone, so it's important to stay vigilant and be proactive about protecting your business. If you notice any of these red flags, don't ignore them. Investigate them thoroughly, and don't be afraid to seek professional help if you need it. The sooner you catch fraud, the less damage it will do to your business. For a more in-depth look at each of these red flags, be sure to check out the blog post linked in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos on business, finance, and entrepreneurship.